Hey everybody, back at the garage again for another evening of work. But before I start, I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for their subscriptions. The support has been overwhelming. In just the last couple of days, I've received about 200 new subscriptions. But that wouldn't have been possible without the shout out that I got from David, aka Chef Tush, and Ellen, aka Ellen, who took some valuable time out of their video to pitch my YouTube channel and to give me a shout out and to ask everybody to subscribe for me. So I appreciate that very much. Thanks guys, it means a lot for you to take the time to do so. So I'm about halfway there, so still a pretty steep road to climb, but again, I'm going to try to step up the quality of the videos a little bit, do a little bit more action shots as I like to refer to them, and continue to work on to get Dorothy here in shape and eventually someday on the road. So thanks again. All right, hello everybody. It's about 4 o'clock on 31st of January. It is a Wednesday. Back over to get some Dorothy goodness. To tell you the truth, I have no idea what I'm going to do this evening. We have the engine hoist here. I may try to put Dorothy on the hoist and mate the chassis to the frame, or excuse me, the body to the chassis, instead of waiting for my oldest to come over here and give me a hand with that. I may work on the valance. I'm not quite sure. I may repair the patch or repair the piece here in the from the heater that needs it, or I may just kind of spin my wheels for a little while. Obviously I can do some welding down there, but I don't know. I'm going to look at, I think, trying to lift the body on the hoist and see how that goes, though now looking, I don't see the hoist. Oh, there it is. So give that a shot. Maybe if I can get this thing hoisted up, I gotta figure out how I'm going to attach it, or even if I have the right tools to do that, but we'll see. So there you go. We'll see what awaits. All right, so a little proof of concept here. I got the body pretty much suspended. You can see there's a gap there. The back's a little heavier, so it sags down a little bit. So the workshop manual calls for attachment points here, making like a hook, but I figured the hinges were a little beefier and the attachment points were a little beefier than that, so I went with that. And then I screwed the seatbelt attachment points back into the floor pan, and that's what the workshop manual calls for. Come-alongs on the back, and then just a long come-along strap, because I didn't have two come-alongs in the front. I may be able to reattach that somewhere else to give me a little bit more level of a rise, but I'm not too sure. The trick here is going to be getting the body out to the side enough that I can get the chassis underneath and then scooch the chassis back underneath with the legs of the cherry picker. So I'm not sure if that's going to work for me or not, but I'm going to put it back down and get the frame detached and then jack it back up and move it over and see what happens here. So wish me luck. A lot of time, effort, and money suspended in midair right there. So like I said, I used the door hinges. That seems to be working pretty good. I don't see any deformation in that. And I went around the, obviously on different sides there. I went around the supports for the gas tank just because I thought they provided a little bit more leveling. And again, I'm not seeing any, you know, any bending there at all. So the thing is not obviously very heavy, so that helps. And the leveler on the hoist, obviously I got that raked all the way forward. I kind of taught myself how to use that. I might not even be using it right, but there you go. So now obviously the chassis is completely covered in crap, so I'm going to leave this, leave Dorothy suspended here. I'm going to grab a bite to eat real quick, and then I'm going to clean up all the stuff over there and wheel the chassis over. So there we go, moving along. exposed here. I'll show you what I did to this guy. Pretty much everything. If it could have been touched, I touched it. So the frame completely stripped. I did not sandblast it. I stripped it all by hand. Couple repair patches on it. You'd have to look at the blog to see that. Covered it in 2 coats of PRR15. Absolutely love that stuff. You can see it's a nice and shiny, but it's very hard, very resilient. I don't know if you can kind of see those dots there. That's all factory stuff. New shocks all around. If it was a piece of rubber, it got replaced. Upper and lower ball joints, trunnions. The fuel pump here I was able to get from the guy in Rhode Island who gave me several parts and get a rebuild kit for that. That's been rebuilt. That guy works. A distributor, just kind of cleaned up. I didn't rebuild it. Generator was rebuilt. New oil pressure sensor, new oil pressure relief valve. Radiator I got also from the guy in Rhode Island. New horns, even though that's kind of cheesy. I totally rebuilt the steering rack. Rebuilt both carburetors, including all the throttle shafts, which is actually pretty easy to do. If you ever saw my video on that, I recommend taking a look at that. That's easy. These little tabbies here are kind of chewed up, but I got them off a set of carburetors that I got. New water pump housing, because this is a Mark I motor, if you remember. Put the Williams valve or the EGR valve on there. I have new hose that I think comes from a TR4. You can't source these hoses. If you can see, it's pinched pretty hard. I'm hoping to do the TR4 one, which looked very similar. I'm not sure if it is. All new brake lines, all new fuel lines. Transmission's been rebuilt. I found some cracked stuff in there. You'd have to, again, refer to the website to take a look at that. The transmission's been rebuilt. New slave cylinder for the clutch. The original shifting knob, absolutely love that thing. Nothing on it whatsoever, just a black little knob. New U-joints all around, so 4 of those. The leaf spring I rebuilt and put new buttons in it. I did not get a new one. Let's see what else. The differential's been taken apart, but I broke it down only as far as to get the bearings that are in here. I don't remember the proper name of the bearings that are in there, but got those out, got them replaced, and got them back. Filled the puppy up. I did put a drain plug in it to make that a little easier if and when I ever get around to actually put enough mileage on this thing to do that. This little guy right here, these little metal clips or plastic clips come with the AMCO brake kits, or Automec brake kits. Factory, it's this stupid little tabs that I hate because they break so easily. So I drilled that out, drilled the hole, popped that guy in, so that's holding that brake line down. I did that up underneath the motor too, which you can't see anymore. All new brakes, rear or front. Calipers have been rebuilt. I did split the calipers and put the seal in there. I have not applied pressure to them, obviously, so we'll see if that was a smart idea or not. Obviously got to get a desk cap on that guy so he doesn't get messed up, the little 3-way here. Oh, there it is. All right, and starter, did the same thing to the starter that I did to the generator, just cleaning it up and replacing the brushes and all the motor work, which I have to get caught up on the videos, but I won't bore you with that. All new hoses. So if it's rubber, it got replaced. And I did use poly bushes for most of that stuff. You can see that here in a kit that I got from TRF. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. And all new springs, if there were springs, emergency brake cable, you name it. If I could do it, I put it on new. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of all the stuff I did on the chassis. And that's about it, I guess. So I'll cut this, cut the rear trailing arm hold up thinger there so it doesn't get in the way. The other one's already cut. And I'm gonna land this guy. I'll take that fuel line off, obviously, so I don't crush it. And we'll go from there. All right, folks, about 8:15. Pretty much done for the evening with all I can do. So the chassis and the body have been remated together. I do have a couple problems. Put this wrench away here real quick that I'll show you. One, I have the Hazen issue where that hole does not line up. It actually is about a half a hole length back, so I can either beat the heck out of the bracket and send it backwards, or drill the hole out a little bit more, which might be too wide. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet. So that's one problem. The other problem, which was kind of upsetting and not really planned, is that I had the body under a little bit of tension to try and get it to get the spacers in, and I think when I did that, I broke the welded capture nut that's inside the outrigger here. So now I can't get that bolt out because the capture nut is just kind of turning on it. So that'll be an interesting repair. Not quite sure how I'm going to attack that yet, but I don't think I have to really worry about that before I weld it down. If nothing else, I'll just use a clamp or something like that and clamp the body down there, because it did line up fine, but I just probably put a little too much pressure on it and popped it, unfortunately, which kind of is upsetting. But everything is in there. So those bolts here, the bolts in the boot here, that guy there, and that guy over there, those are down. These are down and captured. The front ones are. These line up really well. These are for the radio tower, which is funny because this side I was more worried about than the other side, and the other side, which was the first side, I missed that one. So essentially all I intend to do there is just drill those holes out a little bit larger and get that to fit. I'm not going to really worry about that. And then the strengtheners that go across, I haven't welded those in yet, and I still have to mark holes for those as well. What I intend to do for that is go from underneath and just use an awl or some sharp thing and run a punch up, and then just drill through there, and then I'll weld in the strengtheners once I get the sills in. But there you go. So as usual, a couple hiccups, but nothing that I don't think that's going to hold me up from putting the sills in when I'm ready to get there. I would like to get the body bolted down a little bit stronger than it is now, but we'll see what happens. And I would like to get that radio tower in too. But otherwise, that's about all I got for the evening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Again, like I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, I appreciate your guys' support, and I appreciate David, aka Chef Tuss, and Ellen, aka the Crazy Bulgarian, for helping me out with that. And that's about all I got. So have a good rest of your week. I don't think I'm going to get over here this weekend, unfortunately. I got the basketball games over the weekend, and then Sunday's the Super Bowl. We're having a little party because my Eagles are going. And even though I live in New England, I grew up in South Jersey, so I'm an Eagles fan. So for those of you that can find in your heart to root for the Eagles and end the dynasty, I'd appreciate that as well. So take care. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you get together with anybody, or even if you don't. And have a good night. Cheers.